Would you look at this? Look at this. Ah, viewers, it's perfect. The King of the Ring is back. And it's something that Tomas and I, I'm sure, have wanted for, God, I don't even know how long. The first King of the Ring pay-per-view in 22 years. It's taking place in Saudi Arabia, of all places. We got 2 tournament finals to get into. A champion versus champion match. That is not winner take all, mind you. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good show today. I don't know.
Like you said, not only does the King of the Ring back, but we have the Queen of the Ring. As we remember, the last time they did this was in 2022. I want to say 2021. 2021. I should remember because I was at the semifinals on Raw, and you were at the semifinals for SmackDown. It wasn't called the Queen of the Ring. It was called the Queen's Crown because Vince McMahon is a fucking idiot, and he had to try to make everything sound different. Needless to say, this is nothing like the 2021 King of the Ring. Hell, this isn't like the 2015 King of the Ring, the 2008 King of the Ring, the 2006 King of the Ring, which we're about to talk about in a few months on the retrospective. This is probably the best King of the Ring tournament we've had in a while. It really feels like in the past few years, they've really like dented down the brackets. But no, this was a full 16-man and 16-woman tournament, which I thought was pretty cool. It honestly really helped fill the void on TV since we just came off a great Backlash pay-per-view in France, and now we have this Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. I think this was the perfect way to use TV time because we got some really good quality matches.
Oh my God. Dude.
We haven't seen on the main roster yet. I thought it was a good launching point for the NXT call-ups.
Ricochet versus Ilya Dragunov was one of my favorite matches, I think, on television all year long. We got the ending to the Gunther and Sheamus trilogy in round 1. And Gunther beat the absolute shit out of Sheamus, and it's like the third straight victory for Gunther in that trilogy. And Sheamus said, "Ain't gonna be no 4th match, fella." He's done. He's done wrestling Gunther, and who can blame him? Who can blame him?
And, you look at this bracket, and I think the great thing about these tournaments is it also plants out a lot of seeds for future storylines going down the line. You have Drew McIntyre getting taken out for injury. And furthering the thing with him and CM Punk, Jey Uso really was the underdog in these brackets. You talk about Dragunov really cementing his spot on Monday Night Raw. On the SmackDown side, you have the furthering of the Bloodline angle with Randy Orton and Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa, which is really cool to see.
Tama Tonga made it all the way to the semifinals of this bracket too. And people were actually convinced that Tama Tonga was going to take it home because his dad is a former King of the Ring, Haku. So it was like, first time father and son have won the same tournament. That could have been a really cool stat. But no, he was beaten by Randy Orton last night on SmackDown.
Then on the women's side, you have, the ongoing dissension of the Alpha Academy with Maxine Dupree losing her first match. Lyra Valkyria, who we'll be talking about the NXT call-up, the former NXT Women's Champion, making it all the way to the finals. She really was like the Cinderella story in this tournament, which was great.
Love her.
You had the ongoing thing with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair and Tiffany Stratton and a feud with Nia Jax. That's probably coming down the line after that great interaction Nia Jax had with Jade Cargill's daughter. We're going to be getting to a lot. There was a lot of meat on the bone that was this tournament, but we have some other things that happened on the show as well. As we've talked about before, I think it was last year, we kind of lifted the bar on reviewing the Saudi Arabia shows because
yes, we did.
We're going to say this again. We don't like Saudi Arabia. I think a lot of people don't like Saudi Arabia. They have a lot of out of touch and disgusting policies still set in place that we will talk about on the show. But the shows have really gotten better in quality. And the person that really determined this bar for us was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was finally allowed to compete in Saudi Arabia. I think it was last year at Night of Champions.
Yes. Sami and Kevin defended the tag titles against Roman and Solo, and that was where Jimmy hit the super kick on Roman at the end of that show. It was also where we got Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles to crown the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion on last year's show.
But that was a real homecoming for Sami Zayn because he's of Serbian descent, and it was really he said it was a full circle moment for him to become, get closer to his roots. He always comes down in the traditional dress. He speaks Arabic. It really makes Sami Zayn is such a great person, is such a great wrestler. After we saw that, we're like, okay, it's time to just, lessen up, loosen up a bit and review these shows. And, it's not France, it's not Puerto Rico, and it's not Scotland at Clash of the Castle. But I thought this was a good show. I feel bad because I feel like the majority of people have said this was an amazing show. I wouldn't say it's amazing. I feel like there were some moments here and there. This was a very short card considering it's Saudi Arabia. Still the 5-match card, which I understand Triple H is really taking the NXT takeover approach to these pay-per-views that are not the big four. But, one more match would be appreciated, not counting the pre-show match. And a pre-show match. When's the last time we've gotten a pre-show match?
Right.
On a pay-per-view? That was really cool to see. So,
at least a year.
Yeah, I do think there's room for one more match on these pay-per-views. I feel like Triple H is making the roster really earn their spot on pay-per-views because in the Vince era, we had like a 13-match Extreme Rules card in 2019. That's like the joke. The TLC we went to in 2018 was like 32 matches. I do appreciate Triple H making them earn their way to the pay-per-view card. But one more match wouldn't hurt. Like, at Backlash, I would have appreciated a Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. On this show, I would have appreciated Awesome Truth versus Finn Balor and JD McDonough. That would have been nice.
Yeah, those tag titles haven't been touched since Mania on these pay-per-views, have they?
Yeah. Theory and Waller have not defended their titles on pay-per-view yet, and I don't think they defended them on SmackDown either. So they were in the crowd,
they have.
So
they have. They,
them, I guess.
Yeah, against the Street Profits, I think one time. But it's Awesome Truth defended their titles a couple of times. Once against DIY, and then another time against Judgment Day. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'd like to see bigger match cards, but that means that if you're on these pay-per-views, like, you've earned it, and it means something. And it's not like you're under Vince McMahon, or God forbid, under Tony Khan, who puts all of his people on the pay-per-views just for the sake of putting them on the show.
Yeah, I'm not saying, because I feel like, I'm going to eat my words tomorrow when we review Double or Nothing. I'm not saying have a loaded card. I'm not talking like a 8-9 match 10 card. I'm 6. Yeah, 6. Make it a nice even number. I feel like we're not losing anything because we're paying $9.99 for Peacock, and this basically makes all these pay-per-views $9.99, $4.99 if they have 2 in 1 month. So we're definitely getting our value. I know, like I said, I understand Triple H's mindset when coming to these, but it's just a personal preference. Real quick, on the kickoff show, we had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending the WWE Women's Tag Team titles.
We did.
Against Candice, LeRae, and Indi Hartwell. Like we said, both Belair and Cargill.
Time out. Didn't Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark win a #1 contenders match on Raw?
That they did, but I guess LeRae and Hartwell just had sheer determination.
How come it's Candice and Indi in this match? That's what I'm wondering.
Baszler and Stark had to win a fatal 4-way, and LeRae and Hartwell just said, pretty pleased with the cherry on top. And apparently manners get you very far in professional wrestling. Has anyone ever just bothered to ask? Apparently that gets you a long way. And there's no good guys in this situation. We're going to talk about this tomorrow with Double or Nothing with, the ranking system is absolute dog shit. You got
it is. It is.
Black challenging for the TNT title. Where is he on the rankings? Like, Christian Cage challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. Where the fuck is he on the rankings? I don't think he's wrestled since he dropped the TNT title.
We'll talk about it more. But the only person that earned a title shot tomorrow night at Double or Nothing was Will Ospreay, and that's because he won a Battle Royal. But Candice and Indi go in there, and this is a foregone conclusion because Jade Cargill goes in there, and she hasn't been pinned yet on the main roster. Bianca Belair is going in there, and she's apparently 9 months pregnant, and she's going in there wrestling this match. Of course she looks like a warrior, right? Yeah, of course they're going to make them look strong. Yeah. No,
she's
Bianca's
the first ever active pregnant wrestler, and that is both unsafe and amazing at the same time.
Yeah. You don't say.
It's cool to see LeRae and Hartwell on the card. I mean, they're on the SmackDown roster now, so they were already in Jeddah for SmackDown the previous night. So this was, I didn't really think anything was going to come of this match, but this was a decent match. I think it's good. Like we said, with Backlash, put Cargill in there with seasoned veterans. Like LeRae has been in the business forever, and Hartwell, I feel like, has finally found her footing in the WWE after spending a few years in NXT. There wasn't too much to this match, but I really enjoyed like the final sequence of this match. It really showed that Cargill and Belair are really starting to gel as a team, and they actually have some great chemistry together. The finish was really cool. Like Bianca, so Jade Cargill gets LeRae in like a wheelbarrow position. Belair boots LeRae in the head, and then Cargill follows it up with like a wheelbarrow German suplex, and that gets the win. And I'm like, that's really cool. No kiss of death, no Jaded. they're a tag team.
Yeah, and Michael Cole was sure to put that over because honestly, I was convinced that this was just going to be another straight up pinfall victory for Jade Cargill to put her over a little bit more. But I'm glad it was Bianca getting the pin this time and that she isn't lost in the shuffle with this new tag team here, especially given the fact that she's pregnant. I mean, congratulations to her and Montez Ford, right? You know, like she's
that's why they have the tag team titles. Cargill's got to do all the heavy lifting because Belair can't do too much in the ring.
No,
we digress.
No.
I'm going to give the match 2 stars. I thought it was perfectly fine for what it was. And it's nice, you know, to get a pre-show match.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I hope.
Nice little
castle.
It's a pretty harmless little little pre-show match here. Nice little appetizer before you actually get the main courses here. I'm going to go 2.25. Wasn't really all that much to write home about. I love Candice LeRae. I'd love to see her position in a better spot on the card, but at this stage in her career, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. So, with that said, Tomas and I watched WWE King and Queen of the Ring, May 25th, I believe it is today, of 2024, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We open up with the Women's World Championship match. Becky Lynch, the man, is defending against Liv Morgan, who is on quite the revenge tour. How we got here, it's been a while since we've talked about the Women's World Championship. Unfortunately, since WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley has torn her triceps, I believe. She was forced to relinquish the Women's World Championship in a very emotional promo, which Liv Morgan did interrupt and gloat that she hurt Rhea Ripley.
And the ironic thing is, this injury came at the hands of Liv Morgan, not purposely, but in that backstage attack the night after WrestleMania, Liv Morgan booted Rhea Ripley in the shoulder, which is pretty ironic. You'd think she should have just taken that one in the face to kind of avoid this whole injury. But she booted Rhea Ripley in the shoulder, and, you know, Rhea Ripley banged her shoulder against the wall that was behind her. That was enough to do the trick. And yeah, it's kind of ironic. It's weird how life works like that. Morgan was going to go into a feud with Rhea Ripley, but she ended up injuring her. But that's Morgan's whole gimmick right now, is to get revenge on Ripley because Ripley injured her the year prior. So this storyline is basically written itself.
It's a classic double turn type of angle here because Liv Morgan was a white meat babyface when Rhea Ripley put her on the shelf in the middle of last year. And then Liv Morgan comes back. Everybody loves Rhea Ripley. Everybody and their uncles loves Rhea Ripley. So she's basically coming back as the delusional heel, being like, how come I'm the bad guy? You know, like, Rhea Ripley injured me. She took away 8 months of my career. Why do people like her? And then
she's really letting the revenge get to her head. And then if you want to add another layer to that, before Morgan's injury, Rhea Ripley injured Liv Morgan's tag team partner, Raquel Rodriguez. So it's just been this whole storyline of injuries. By the way, shout out to Raquel Rodriguez. We know she's dealing with health problems. That's why she's been off of TV. We want to see, you know, the real life She-Hulk back in the ring very soon. But with that being said, there was a battle royal after that to determine the new Women's World Champion.
It sure
Becky
was.
Lynch ended up winning that battle royal, which sent the whole internet world into disarray. Like, why not put the title on Morgan? Why do they do this? Lynch doesn't need the title. You know what? I'm pretty sure Triple H called in a favor for Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was supposed to be taking time off right now to be a mother and help. Her and Seth Rollins just needed some time off together. So Triple H called in a favor. Lynch came back. You can theorize all day. I know our buddy Good Mike work on his channel theorized, you know, the big European tour that happens after WrestleMania. They probably wanted a big name on that tour. So Lynch was probably the safer bet. And then, you know, everyone's just speculating, just drop the title to Liv Morgan. Well, that's what this match is about here. And I do like the little side. That's the great thing about Triple H's booking. The side stories that go into the main story are great. In this one, if you keep up with NXT, Lyra Valkyria was the one who defeated Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. And now that Valkyria is on the main roster, Lynch has kind of adopted her as her little protege. So Valkyria has been really like making the saves for Lynch. And in the sake of that, Morgan has been targeting Valkyria. Like, she just walks up to Valkyria backstage and says, "Tell me, Lyra, has Becky Lynch always been a bitch?" and just slaps the shit out of her. So I like these little mini feuds that are going on in the big feud. So that's really cool to see the evolution of that.
I love Triple H as a booker. So many freaking layers to even these smaller, like, you know, not main event feuds. Like, it's so great. So great.
I love Morgan as a heel too. I think she's fit into this role very well. Like, she came in as, the vengeful, like the Punisher. I'm going to come in, I'm going to, kick ass, take names, take my revenge. But she ends up being the bad guy because she's letting the vengeance get to her head. She's gloating that she injured Rhea Ripley. She's mad at Becky Lynch for winning the title. So, manners take you a long way in professional wrestling. So one night on Raw, Morgan just asks for a title shot. She gets the title shot. Boom, here we are, women's championship match.
Yeah, and it also should be noted that Corey Graves on commentary was constantly hounding the heel Liv Morgan for basically whining and complaining that she's always second place. And he's like, whining doesn't get you anywhere in this business. And it was just kind of unorthodox to hear the heel sympathizing announcer just kind of go after the heel like that. It was I don't want to say it was jarring, but it was different. It was refreshing.
Baseball.
No,
and
there's no crying in baseball. No crying.
I want to give a quick shout out to Corey Graves. I'm really glad that you brought him up. I love the duality of Corey Graves because if when they did the announcer shakeup, when they finally set the announce teams, Corey Graves has been promoted to the play-by-play guy on SmackDown along color commentary with Wade Barrett. So the fact that he's able to transition from play-by-play back to color commentary with Michael Cole here is really cool. I don't recall another announcer that's been able to do that. You look at all the great announce teams we've had throughout the years, and there's been a play-by-play guy, there's been a color guy, and not one of them have been able to do both. And Corey Graves can, and I think that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, no, shout out to him. But this match starts, Becky Lynch, I believe, is the first woman in wrestling history to work a whole world championship match wearing a suit. Which is, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that she came out wearing a full-on tuxedo, but hey, she's the man after all. Yeah, no, it was cool. It was cool. But
talk about making chicken salad out of chicken shit. The ladies have to go into this country that is extremely misogynistic.
Yeah.
And they have to play by their rules. So why not have some fun with it? That feels disgusting to still say. That's why I can't fully get behind these Saudi Arabia shows. It doesn't matter how much frosting you put on this shit cupcake, it's still going to be a piece of shit.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think that is cool enough that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill had matching attire,
which I'm sure Bianca made herself, by the way.
Yeah,
because she's a fucking
Bianca
boss.
Belair is putting her little splash of flair on her gear, which is really cool. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This match felt basic, standard.
I see what you're saying there, and I think I've kind of deduced what you mean by that. At least how I'm seeing it, because I do think that these two girls have good chemistry with one another. I don't think it's the fact that they don't click with each other, because these two have had good matches against each other in the past. Think back to a couple of years ago. Remember when we talked about Day One? Yeah, they wrestled together on that show, and I remember really liking that match with the roles reversed, Becky Lynch working heel there. But this one, a lot more slow paced in the beginning. The match didn't really get super exciting until maybe about the halfway point when they started throwing all sorts of finishing moves at one another, Liv trying for Oblivion and she's hitting a code breaker. But that wasn't really the story of the match.
Yeah, these girls were given 16 minutes, so I understand having to slow down the pace a lot. There's some really cool sequences, like you said, in the latter half. There's that one where Becky Lynch goes for a manhandle slam and Liv Morgan counters it into the code breaker. That was really cool. I feel like there were a lot of cool finisher attempts in this match. There was an armbar by Becky Lynch, which turned into the disarm her. Liv Morgan's actually able to make it to the ropes. I had my pick in this match, and that was Liv Morgan, but there were some spots in this match where I was like, oh, damn, Becky Lynch actually might retain.
Yeah, Liv Morgan.
This is going towards, but a certain mommy needs to be cleared first before I can make this prediction.
Oh, yeah. Liv Morgan also, please do not overlook her. I mean, Becky Lynch is my favorite women's wrestler of all time. I think I can comfortably say that now. But Liv Morgan really showed up in this thing. And her submission game, fantastic. She was locking in the brutalizer on Becky Lynch at one point, which was freaking awesome. I'm like, is that a call out to Pac? Is she friends with Pac and she's using that move now? But yeah, no, I thought it was a really, really solid, well-worked women's match here. The shit doesn't really hit the fan until Dominic Mysterio runs down to the ring. If you think I'm joking about that, Look at Dominic Mysterio now. I mean, they're coming out with an Eddie Guerrero documentary tomorrow, and I am, like, gung-ho about watching that. I can't wait to check it out when I can. But more and more by the day, you see the mullet growing, and now Dominic's got a nice little mustache here. He is starting to look more and more like his father by the day. And I'm sure if his father were still around, if his father was still walking the earth, I'm sure Eddie would be very proud of Dominic. But in any case, he does run down to the ring. Yeah, go ahead.
I got to say this. Well, two things. Number one, this is important that if you watch the pre-show, Morgan was being interviewed backstage, and Dominic Mysterio showed up, and he has the best line, I feel, of the night. He goes, yeah, I flew all the way to Saudi Arabia just to make sure you don't win the Women's World Championship.
And let me guess. Do you think Dominic's the biggest hater in the company because he does that?
No, I don't. You said that about AJ Styles on Elimination Chamber, but I don't want to get too much into these theories, but it's a lot of more of those Triple H Easter eggs. A lot of people have been noticing things about Liv Morgan, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio. That's going to add more to this theory tonight, but does that mean Liv Morgan's going to join Judgment Day? I don't know. Does that mean Liv Morgan's trying to destroy Judgment Day? I don't know. Is Liv Morgan going to, get the Judgment Day to turn on Rhea Ripley? I don't know. Like this is one of those storylines I'm not saying I don't care, but I'm not looking too deep into it as much as other people are. This is one of those stories
I'm looking deep into it. Like, my favorite Easter egg that you mentioned was, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Drew, actually, who was getting interviewed. And you see in the background, Liv Morgan just walks out of a locker room, and then 10 seconds later, you see Dominic follow her out. What were you doing in there, you two? What were you doing?
Then the following week on Raw, and I love this because it's the production. It's the production of this that I really appreciated because, they do the whole wrestlers walking through the parking lot. They've been doing that every single Raw, every single SmackDown, every single pay-per-view since the Royal Rumble. So I think it's great that you can actually pay attention to these now. It's like Triple H are like, oh, this may look standard to you, but pay attention because Liv Morgan exits a car while I think Jey Uso's coming into the arena. And then a few moments later, in the next segment they show, Finn Balor is leaving the same car. What were they doing? Were they talking? Were they flirting? Were they touching each other? We don't know.
Well, I mean, Liv Morgan is, Finn Balor I know is married in real life, but so is Dominic for that matter. But I mean, I would believe it more if it was Dominic over Finn. But with that said, Dominic does run down, and he actually does have his arm in a sling, just like Eddie Guerrero did as well in his first few months in the WWF. He's going in there, and he's starting to distract the referee, and Michael Cole is... he can't pass up any opportunity to roast Dominic Mysterio. He's in there. He doesn't really know what to do. Becky Lynch has the disarmor locked in, and she notices Dom come in. She basically says, I don't need your help. Dominic doesn't listen. He throws a steel chair towards Becky Lynch while there's a double down, and Becky Lynch does not take the chair. Dominic gets on the apron, starts distracting the referee, and then Liv hits a gigantic DDT on the steel chair, out of the referee's line of vision. One more oblivion. 1, 2, 3. Liv Morgan is the new Women's World Champion. I marked out like nobody else because I'm a huge fan of hers, but I marked out even more for Michael Cole's line on commentary. Dominic, you're a moron! You're a moron!
Corey Graves' following comment where he said Dominic should get locked up again. Like, they're so fucking mad at Dom.
Right?
But you want to go back, want to put back our tinfoil hats for a second. Did Dominic mean to do that? Was he really trying to help Becky Lynch? Or did he really want Liv Morgan to use that chair? And I think helping Morgan out. That is a really cool thing. Also, another point I want to make. I'm really glad Liv Morgan stopped doing the oblivion in the ropes because I hate any finisher that involves your setup having to be in the ropes.
Yeah.
The best example would be the tarantula. Yeah, the tarantula is a cool move, but Tajiri could never win a match with that move because it's illegal.
Yeah.
And you want another example? I don't like bringing this point up, but Alberto, when he came back to the WWE and he did that diving stomp in the corner, that move took so much setup that it was so unbelievable.
It's the worst fucking finisher of all time, but yeah, all that in mind though, I'm so happy to see Liv Morgan back on top of the mountain. She absolutely deserves it with her passion for the business, and I've been waiting for her to get another chance, in a fully booked Triple H realm here. Because when Triple H took over, Liv was the SmackDown Women's Champion, and that was one of the last huge title changes Vince McMahon ever put pen to paper for, rather. So I'm very, very curious to see where this reign goes. Maybe she holds on to it until Rhea comes back. Maybe she defends it against Lyra Valkyria at a pay-per-view down the line. Who really knows from this point? But
you know what? Now that you bring that up, I would love to see Morgan and Valkyria at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how over Valkyria would be in Scotland, considering she's Irish, but,
I don't...
overseas, I think she'd get a lot of sympathy.
I don't think it's going to be the Clash, because I think it's honestly more likely Bayley defends the women's title against Piper Niven, because it is in Scotland, and Piper Niven is Scottish, so,
And they already are building up to that feud, but, it's an idea. My idea, what I want to bring up earlier, is that if Rhea Ripley's ready to go by SummerSlam, I want a triple threat. Lynch, Ripley, and Morgan. Because it seems like for the past few years, triple threat women's championship matches have been the show stealers at SummerSlam. I know that's a very weird, revelation to make, but they've been really good.
Yeah.
Nikki Cross, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch had a great one. What was it last year? Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and was it Charlotte Flair had a really good one.
It was Asuka, not Io. Io cashed in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, there's been a lot of SmackDown ones. Who could forget Carmella, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch in 2018? That was the big heel turn that turned Becky Lynch's career around. So I feel like this year, that's what I want. Morgan, Ripley, Lynch for the Women's Championship, if Rhea Ripley is ready to go. And that would mean Morgan has to retain at Clash and Money in the Bank, which I think is easy enough. Rumors are Becky Lynch is going to be going back into taking her time off. Also, her contract is up. Her contract is up. You guys got to stop looking into everything. The contract being up just means she hasn't signed a new deal yet.
Exactly.
She's going to AEW. That does not mean she's quitting wrestling, which if she did, I would support that because she wants to be a mom. But stop looking at everything, everybody. It's none of your business.
I'm right there with you, man. And to all those people who actually think that we're going to see Rebecca Quinn in AEW, absolutely fucking not. And let me tell you why. Because her husband just re-signed a brand spanking new lucrative contract with WWE. Those two are going to be lifers. So Becky Lynch is not going anywhere. So don't get
It's when people want to say oh, look at all the other broken up couples. It's not Rhea Ripley's fault they fired Buddy Matthews.
No,
it's not Meechan's fault that they re-signed Meechan, but they can't re-sign Keith Lee right now. It's not. I don't know what's another one.
Trust me.
Look how long it took Andrade to get back to the company. It's not Malachi Black's fault they took back. Zelina Vega was never going to get re-signed by WWE. She just got lucky.
Yeah.
So, and I digress. I'm getting off to a tangent here. So, Becky Lynch isn't going anywhere is the point I'm trying to make. This might surprise you, but I'm going to give this match 3 stars. It took a lot to get into that third gear moment. And I'm not saying these two women didn't gel well. It just felt like and I don't want to use this term, it felt like a pre-Triple H era pay-per-view match. Which, I think
it might have been a little bit better than that. I think I'm actually going to go 3 1/4. If I'm feeling really generous, I'll give it 3 1/2, just because I did really like how these two women gelled in the second half of the match, and I upped it up some bonus points for the title change that I wanted to see. But
and I'm happy for the title change. It was a little predictable, but there's nothing wrong with predictable sometimes.
No,
it wasn't my favorite match. I would take, I can't name any right now. Wow. No. The triple threat at Backlash last month. I would take that over this.
I haven't seen the match from day one, and I haven't gone back and rewatched day one. I haven't felt the need to rewatch day one. I haven't gone back and rewatched that match, but
that's a cursed pay-per-view. That's why
it is. It is. I'm scared I'll get COVID if I watch that thing. But anyway,
Brock Lesnar won the WWE title. There's a lot about 2022
fuck that show.
I want to forget.
But anyway, solid enough opening contest, but the title matches keep on coming. This is the second one out of the third here, and this is one, Tomas, I was really freaking pumped for.
So was I. You want to talk more about layers upon layers upon layers for the Intercontinental Championship? Sami Zayn, the hometown boy, you could say, defending against Chad Gable, a big Bronson Reed. How did we get here? Well, the week after WrestleMania, Sami Zayn defended the Intercontinental title against Chad Gable. After Gable said, "You owe me one," after coaching him into his big Intercontinental title win at WrestleMania, It was in Toronto, so Sami Zayn was super over.
Montreal
Zayn gets the win. Oh, thank you. In Montreal, Zayn's hometown. Zayn gets the win. He goes to hug and kiss his wife, and Gable absolutely snaps. He German suplexes Zayn on the floor. He puts him on an ankle lock on the top rope, which is super cool. And the heel turn has come. Gable is now a full-blown heel, and Gable is absolutely unhinged now. He is dressing down the Alpha Academy. He's being a drill sergeant. He's telling Maxine Dupree, you suck. Akira Tozawa, you suck. Otis, you're my number one pupil, but you still suck. And he wants the Alpha Academy to go out there and do his dirty deeds now. There was a match, the Raw prior, where Gable was wrestling Zayn, and he told Maxine Dupree, slap him. She didn't want to do it. Tozawa, hit him. Didn't want to do it. Gable ejects Tozawa and Dupree, and finally Otis, he backs up at first, but he clotheslines the shit out of Sami Zayn, and Gable's able to get the non-title win. Big Bronson Reed, let's talk about him for a second.
Yes.
Reed basically just bulldozed his way into this feud and said, fuck you, I want the Intercontinental title. I could care less about this little drama that's going on. And Reed also had Intercontinental title match that was ruined by Gable. Reed returned the favor and ruined Gable's match with Zayn. And, you know, it's this big whole mismatched up. It's basically the definition of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Zayn's the good, Gable's the bad. Reed's the ugly because he's this big, monstrous brew that cares about nothing other than winning this title.
Well, that's freaking rude. I think Reed is a very handsome man. And first of all, like, let me just clear this up. I understand that Big Bronson Reed is his gimmick. Let's stop comparing him to Kaiju, please, because it is getting a little bit old. But let me also counter by saying this. See, here I was just sitting here thinking that Chad Gable was just gonna hug Sami Zayn from behind, and he just tripped. You know, that's what I thought happened.
Yeah, very rude. You know, everyone said, "Oh, Gable, you're an asshole. You attacked Zayn." He wanted a hug.
It was an accident.
Like, I'm just gonna give him a big hug from behind.
He accidentally suplexed his friend. Yeah, that's
now, the ankle lock on the top rope. I can't explain that. You're not Gable about that. But you know, the initial attack. Goddamn.
I love what they're doing with Chad Gable now, and what he's done with the Alpha Academy, and how the Alpha Academy is starting to evolve. And it really does feel like he's starting to grow into more so like a 2004 Kurt Angle. Because remember when he had his goons, Luther Reigns and Mark Jindrak, doing all his dirty work? This is kind of another twist on that, where, you know, imagine if Angle was asking Reigns and Jindrak, these big two handsome studs, to do all of his dirty work on the outside, and Reigns and Jindrak didn't want to do it. Like, yeah. imagine if that was the twist here. But
and then you want to talk about more Easter eggs on Raw. Chad Gable was shooting the shit with the Creed brothers.
Jesus.
So,
yeah.
Team Gable, perhaps?
Team Gable.
And Julius could be the Benjamin and Haas to Gable's Angle.
Yeah.
We shall see. Obviously, that's the direction that they're going, but
it's going to give the
build to it. And speaking of Chad Gable, I know you want to talk about his entrance. Talk about it.
He comes out to the ring, and this was my favorite moment from the crowd here. He comes out, and during his music, they actually chant, "You suck," at Chad Gable in rhythm to his music. And they don't mention Kurt Angle by name on commentary, but Michael Cole was like, well, the last time that chant was used, it was reserved for another Hall of Fame Olympian. So I'm like, you could just say Kurt Angle.
Yeah, the "You suck" chant along the Gable's music, it's going to take some getting used to, but I do appreciate the effort, and I do like that the "You suck" chant is being reincarnated.
Yeah.
Like, they're not forcing it. I heard some rumors that, they piped it in on Monday, and now Saudi Arabia kind of got more into it. But I do think this is a fitting gimmick for Gable. Let's just say this right now. Gable is not straight up acting like Kurt Angle. He's not bald. He's not wearing the sweatsuit. He doesn't, come out with Olympic gold medals. He's not talking about his broken freaking neck. But, Gable, I think about that 2017 Angle. See what I did there? From, Jason Jordan being Kurt's son. But, why the fuck wasn't it Gable? It should have been Gable. I like how Gable...
They should have been... They should have been Dork Father and Dork Son, and we shouldn't have gotten just one segment where Daniel Bryan was revealed to be Chad Gable's father. So,
like, nothing against Jordan, but it would have worked better with Gable. And I love how they were in on the joke. So Gable and Danielson were making fun of it on SmackDown on Talking Smack, where they were like, "Gable, I just found out that you're my son." Daddy, I love you. And it was great. Like, imagine if Gable was in that role with Kurt back in the day. Like, that would have been so much better.
No, Gable. No, you're misremembering it. Gable actually was reluctant to hug Daniel Bryan after that.
Oh, really? Now?
Yeah, because remember, like we're rabbit holing here, but the birth certificate comes out and it's written it's written in like lead pencil or something that says, "I am your father, hooray!" and Bryan goes in for the hug, and Gable's like, "You're 5 years older than me. You can't be my dad." And then Bryan was like, "I could be your father. I was a very feral 5-year-old." I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I miss Danielson in WWE. I'm going to get so much hate just for saying that alone.
I do too. Hall of Famer.
Speaking of Reed, Big Bronson Reed's entrance I thought was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I know you said don't compare him to Kaiju, but he's just like, my God, if there was a Japanese monster in the WWE, it's fucking Bronson Reed.
Well, you know what
I love this guy to death.
I do too, and honestly, hearing his promo style, you know what I'm starting to see in him? A little bit of a young Samoa Joe. Maybe a little bit thicker than Samoa Joe, maybe a little bit, like, he does a lot more flippy shit than Samoa Joe ever did, but, like, Bronson Reed could be WWE's answer to Joe right now.
Promo style of Samoa Joe, wrestling style of a young Big Van Vader.
Yeah, I was thinking Bam Bam Bigelow, but yeah, Vader's a better one.
With a little bit of that mixed in there.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn is the hometown boy. Like I said, he comes out in the traditional dress. He is super fucking over in Saudi, and that just makes this whole thing worth it, honestly. Just to see Zayn happy.
It can't be Zayn's hometown. It's not Montreal. It's not Montreal.
Homeland.
You know what I mean?
Say that to Sami Zayn? No.
Yeah. This match was awesome. This match was really awesome.
Super fun.
Yeah, it was
really cool.
God, Chad Gable hitting a double German suplex on both Bronson and Sami. Like the fact that
damn well what spot I was thinking of as they were setting up. WrestleMania we're about to talk about, WrestleMania 22. Kurt Angle doing that to Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. It's an unbelievable spot.
But honestly, all due respect to Kurt, but this was so much more impressive because Chad Gable is not a tall individual, and he's lifting up Sami Zayn, 212 pounds, soaking wet. Bronson Reed is a big 330-pound piece of meat, and Gable just chucked him over his head like nothing.
And I love this spot because it was originally Reed in the backside holding on to Gable, who's holding on to Zayn. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. The minute they switched around and Gable was in the back, I'm like, Gable's a fucking freak of nature. And Michael Cole actually said something on commentary that reminded me of something. He said that Chad Gable was pound for pound the strongest man in WWE. Eat your heart out, Claudio Castagnoli. Like, I hate to say it, but Gable is a fucking freak.
Yeah.
I knew ever since WrestleMania we were at when he did that to Braun Strowman, that this dude is a fucking freak.
And it's honestly a sin that this is Chad Gable's first pay-per-view match since that WrestleMania we were at 14 months ago. So good on Chad Gable for finally, hitting his stride as a character and actually finding a spot on this pay-per-view and having such a fucking awesome story going on with Sami Zayn.
Before we continue, want to talk about storytelling? I love this bit right before the match. Chad Gable grabs Otis by his big beefy face and says, stick to the plan. Remember what we talked about, because one great dynamic of this friendship that's been going on for 2 or 3 years, just to see it devolve into this like abusive friendship where Gable just goes up to Otis and he says, remember what we talked about? Yeah, no, I want to hear you say it no matter what. Like, oh my God. It makes it so bad.
Poor Otis. Poor Otis, man.
Teddy bear that drinks protein shakes by the gallon, and you feel so bad for him because you know what he's thinking in his head. Like, Master Gable's my friend, and I've been he did everything for me, but he's being a total asshole right now. Like, where's Cesaro and Maxine Dupree? Oh, and Maxine Dupree, we didn't talk about her at the entrance. She was looking very nice in her attire. And
and then
just looks at her and says, "Go." And Maxine is like begging, like, "No, please, like, no, go." Go, Taylor, not so
What an asshole. What an asshole.
Like, what a fucking monster. Depriving us of Maxine Dupree.
Right?
I just want to give her a hug.
It's like a 1999 Jeff Jarrett now, depriving us of seeing his female valet.
I just want to hug her and take her to Disneyland. Is that too much to ask for?
Yeah, Yeah, I hope she's watching this podcast so you can make that happen. But
yeah, sure,
anyway, rolling ankle locks like all the way around. You want to talk about Kurt Angle comparisons? I like 3 different ankle lock spots. Like there was a double ankle lock with Chad Gable having the ankle lock on Bronson Reed. Sami Zayn picks Chad Gable up as he's delivering the ankle lock to Bronson, and Zayn has an ankle lock of his own. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. That is freaking awesome.
Ankle locks. You want to talk about the sheer power of Reed? I love this spot that he does. He has Sami Zayn in a reverse DDT position, and then Gable runs at him. He grabs Gable and fucking Uranagis him on top of Zayn. Total car collision. There's a great powerbomb superplex spot where Reed powerbombs Zayn, who's stacked on top of Gable, and it's just like, God damn, Bronson Reed is so good. Like,
yeah.
Is it say he's the best Haas in WWE right now? Because goddamn, he's so underutilized.
I wouldn't put it too far out of the question for you to say that. Double Samoan drop by Bronson Reed, which is just sheer unadulterated power. No disputing that. Oh, Sami Zayn hitting a blue thunder bomb on Bronson Reed. Sort of.
And I loved his reaction afterward. Like, he hits the blue thunder bomb and he celebrates like, I didn't actually think I could do that. And
yeah. He sort of did it. He sort of did it. He got about as much air as he could with a 330-pound man taking the blue thunder bomb, but it was still very impressive.
The commentators didn't call him out for that, saying something like, oh, Zayn was so impressed that he hit the blue thunder bomb that, he didn't capitalize. But that was go back to that spot alone and just watch Zayn's face as he hits the blue thunder bomb. It's just like, he's so proud of himself. Like, I didn't actually think I could do that, and he did it.
Pat himself on the back for a minute. But this is where Otis gets involved, and this poor guy has to. Oh God! Like I just want to give Otis a hug. So Gable says now is the time because Bronson Reed is out there, and Otis runs through Bronson Reed like a locomotive with a clothesline. And then Otis is looking a little bit ashamed of what he did. And then this is where it gets interesting. Gable throws Sami to the outside and he says, do the same thing. I want you to do the same thing. And now Otis is hesitant because he respects Sami Zayn too much. And now Gable's getting in his face and he's like, what, is he your best friend now? And now he's trying to slap some sense into Otis. Slap some sense into his pupil. He holds Sami Zayn up, for the clothesline.
The point we forgot to mention is that after Otis cost Zayn the match with Gable on Monday, they're backstage and Otis is trying to apologize to Zayn, and Zayn doesn't want to hear it, but he says, "No, Otis, actually, you're a really good person. You don't need Gable in your life. He's not your friend." And then Gable comes back up and says, "Oh, I see what you were trying to do. You're trying to befriend Zayn. You're trying to get him to lower his guard." And it's like, God damn, Chad Gable, you pretentious piece of shit. So how that plays into why Otis doesn't want to hit Zayn. And after that, you saw this coming from a mile away. It didn't make it that much more cooler. And Otis got a huge pop for this. Otis goes for the clothesline. Zayn ducks, and he blasts Master Gable with the clothesline. And you see the look on Otis's face like, what have I done? But at the same time, in the back of his mind, it's like, yeah, you fucking deserved it.
Yeah, pulling a page out of the Batista playbook from 2005, I see there. But yeah, then back in the ring, this allows Sami Zayn to capitalize and hit one Helluva kick on Bronson Reed. And yeah, fine, go ahead and say it, Tomas. Go ahead and say it. Make the joke. I know you want to.
That's one hell of a kick. Zayn gets the win and retains the championship. This was a really fun match with some really cool story, like layers onto it. My only nitpick, Bronson Reed taking the pin fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I spent the past, 10 minutes praising the fuck out of Reed. And it's just like, you have this big Haas on your hands. Why is he losing? He is a monster. He should be plowing through people. He should be winning championships. I get the landscape is so big right now, but Bronson Reed cannot be ignored.
No, he can't just win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and we call it a day.
No.
My issue with it isn't necessarily Bronson getting pinned. I don't think one Helluva kick was enough, believably, for Bronson Reed to lose. And I guess the whole idea was that the impact from the Otis clothesline, it's kind of placates that. But I would have rather seen Sami hit like at least 2 Helluva kicks, maybe even 3 to put Bronson Reed down.
Yeah, that was another point I wanted to make because look, Otis knocked down Reed. And then how long before that Helluva kick? A couple minutes, 2-3 minutes. And Reed still hadn't recovered from that. It was just like, I don't want to say it made Reed look weak, but it just fucking sucked that he had to be the fall guy in this. Like,
yeah, somebody had to, though.
People have made the claim to be like, oh, Bronson Reed really came back to WWE for this. He was like a monster in Noah. He was a monster in TNA. And, is he even better off in WWE? Well, first of all, he's probably getting paid a hell of a lot better. But I definitely see what they mean about that, because Bronson Reed just cannot be ignored. He's such a fucking good wrestler for a man his size.
He cannot be. I hope he can get to, like, honestly, don't put it past WWE to put him in the world title hunt at some point. I'm not saying right now, but at some point soon. I'm gonna go 3 3/4 on this one. I thought it was a really, really fun triple threat match. I was really close to naming this my match of the night, in all honesty, thinking about it, but no, it was really enjoyable, and to our point, those were our nitpicks, and that's honestly what holds it back from being a 4-star match for me.
Yeah, I mean, these guys only had about 13 minutes, so they got a lot into those 13 minutes. Yeah,
I thought they got longer.
Seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 13 minutes, 40 seconds. This was super fun. I feel like Zayn, there's those matches where it's less about who won and more about the aftermath. It's great that Zayn retained, and this is his story after all. But I feel like the bigger impact is what happened with Gable and Otis. And, it's only a matter of time till either. I feel like this is how I like to see it play out. Like, everyone's saying, oh, Gable needs to kick Alpha Academy to the curb. I would rather much see Otis and Tozawa and Dupree get together and be like, no, we're leaving you. And, we're going to kick your ass before we leave. But then the Creed brothers come in and they absolutely annihilate Alpha Academy. Gable has his team Gable. They could have some fun tag team matches for the time being. Drape those 3 in gold. I'm saying it right now. I'm calling my shot right now. Creed brothers beat Awesome Truth. Gable down the line beat Sami Zayn. Drape that team in gold.
Oh man, that's a bold prediction there. That's a bold prediction, and I wouldn't mind seeing that come true. But we do have to talk about a tournament final up next. It's the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, the second of its kind. It is the winner of the Raw bracket, Lyra Valkyria, going up against the winner of the SmackDown bracket, Nia Jax. How both women got here. Let's start with Lyra Valkyria real quick, because we haven't talked about her as much.
If I were to bet my house on how this tournament would have went, I'd be homeless right now, because I was way off. This is the bracket I expected to happen. And I have my nitpicks about it, but I'm going to let you start first.
It's like WWE's answer to March Madness. We have our predictions of how we have the bracket going, and it always winds up like a normal March Madness tournament. There's always upsets that go on. There's always shenanigans. So I'm not entirely surprised. Yeah, go ahead.
This is why I don't buy Super Bowl squares. And this is why I don't buy, I don't gamble on March Madness, because I would have a lot of money right now, because I feel like I'm so shitty with predictions.
Fair enough. So on the Raw side, let's start off with Lyra Valkyria, because we have not talked about this woman nearly as much. She has been such an amazing presence for the NXT women's division. She had a very interesting storyline that she was in the middle of with Tatum Paxley when she was called up. But she's the woman who beat Becky Lynch to win the NXT Women's Championship last fall. I believe at Halloween Havoc, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
I mean, she was one of the people that really impressed me in the Stand and Deliver women's ladder match alongside Tiffany Stratton. This could be like a future cornerstone of this women's division on the Raw side. And to get here, it wasn't an easy feat. She had to beat Dakota Kai. She had to beat, who the fuck was it in the quarterfinals? It was Zoe Stark, I think.
Stark.
Yeah, it was Zoe Stark. And then Io Sky in the semifinals. So putting her over Io Sky, who was the women's champion going into WrestleMania, that's a huge stamp. It reminds me of when they called up Finn Balor all those years ago. And he beat Roman Reigns night 1, clean as a whistle. So that is a huge, huge way of saying, hey, this is the future right here.
This is how you build new stars.
Yep. Bingo. That's how you do it. I wouldn't be surprised to see, like we talked about, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lyra get a title shot against Liv Morgan down the line. But let's talk about... Go ahead.
She's been on the main roster for a hot second, and she already feels like she's going to be a staple of Monday Night Raw, which is good. This is how you build new stars. We talked about this before. I talked about this at the Dynasty review. Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Cool. Now what do you do now that match is over? You could have built towards that. Let's get to that guy. sorry, allergies really getting the better of me. Certain guys that don't get enough TV time, they give them big wins and then you don't see them for months and they're not like working their way up the ladder to be a staple of the company. Powerhouse Hub. Ricky Stark.
Yeah.
God, my allergies are killing me today.
Yeah, well, funny you mentioned Ricky Starks is working a local indie show this next weekend against QT Marshall, our good friend QT Marshall. So Ricky Starks is fucking done in AEW, but beside the point. Nia Jax. I've had my things to say about Nia Jax on this podcast. She has torn her way through this bracket, beating Naomi in the first round, defeating Jade Cargill by disqualification in the quarterfinals, and what I will admit was a hilarious spot where she sees Jade Cargill's daughter sitting in the front row, and she's like, "Your mom sucks!" And then Jade's daughter going, "No, she doesn't!" And then Jade blasting Nia with a chair, and that's how Jade gets eliminated from the tournament. That was before there was a title shot for SummerSlam on the line, so Jade didn't even know that. Yeah. And then she beats Bianca Belair in the semifinals clean as a whistle. You have a literal David versus Goliath matchup. And
I'm not against this, but like I said, my predictions were not going to go this way. I wanted to see Tiffany Time make it to the end of this tournament. I wanted Tiffany Time to win the entire thing. We are Tiffany Stratton stands on this channel.
Yes, we are.
She got done a little dirty in this tournament.
Yeah, she lost in the quarterfinals.
Me and Zach had this big, huge, long discussion about Jade Cargill, just saying I don't think it's fair for her to win this tournament when nothing against her, but everyone in this tournament is outclassing her. And let's talk about Nia Jax, because I've had a lot of time to simmer about this. I had a lot of time to think about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her first run for a second. Absolute dog shit garbage. Hated everything about it. Hated when they turned her babyface. She was unsafe, horrible. Glad she got fired in 2020. And when she came back, I let out the biggest groan in the world. But as she, since she's been back, I've been hearing people say, she's gotten better. She's gotten better. And I'm like, has she though? I don't think it's that. And listen to my theory. She's a lot more tolerable now. And I think that's because she finally understands her place. And it's not just, she understands her place. And Triple H is booking her in a way where it's like, okay, look, you're a big lady Haas. You have some impressive stuff in there, but I'm not going to hand you everything on a freaking silver platter like Vince did. You're gonna have to earn it. And I think with the combination of that, I'm able to tolerate Nia Jax a lot more because she understands her place in the business. She's not a babyface. She shouldn't be holding the championship for like 9 months. She understands her place as a shitty heel that's good at getting heat. And you know what? Put her with the right person. She has good matches.
Like Lyra Valkyria, because honestly, I did rather enjoy this match. Lyra Valkyria, if I can talk, Lyra Valkyria, I'm going to have trouble saying that name every time I see her, but she was bumping her ass off for Nia.
Lyra Smith.
Lyra Smith?
Yeah, he says he doesn't know how to pronounce Valkyria. And Greg, if you're watching this, I'm going to call you out. He says, "Oh, we already have Taya Valkyrie." Nobody's talking about Taya Valkyrie. I'm sorry. Nobody is talking about Taya Valkyrie. So when they hear Valkyria, they're talking about the girl who's on Monday Night Raw every week. And also, what does Solomon Monster call her? Bird Girl. Bird Girl.
I mean, she did come out dressed up as a bird girl. Like she was straight out of an Edgar Allan Poe poem. Like seriously. Yeah. Like she comes out dressed up like a raven. It was so awesome.
Lyra Valkyria is so fucking cool. And she is slowly making her way up my ranks. And Zach, you know me. You know me for a long time. You know I love a good big person versus little person match. And this wasn't the best thing, but I really appreciated the chemistry of that. The whole big person versus little person. I feel like Lyra Valkyria was, she was a little bullet in there. She's hitting moves off the top rope. It's that classic hit all your aerial offense until the big Haas catches you and fucking pulverizes you, which I think this really cool sequence where Lyra Valkyria attempted a suicide dive. Nia Jax catches her on the outside. Lyra Valkyria counters with a wheelbarrow bulldog a la Rey Mysterio. They did some fun stuff in this match, considering they only got 9 minutes.
Yeah, Lyra Valkyria did that weird setup double foot stomp that we referred to earlier, which actually led to the biggest near fall of the contest. The finish was actually super creative when I watched it, and Tomas described it as one of the most creative finishes he's ever seen. Lyra is
the most believable.
Yeah, one of the most believable. It is creative as well. Lyra goes for like a sunset flip powerbomb as Nia is on the second rope, and as Nia comes off the ropes, there is a bonsai drop. Like it's. Man, oh man.
Annihilator.
It's the fucking same move. Like, literally, watch how Nia...
Annihilator.
Hold on a second. Watch how Nia pins her opponent here. She is sitting right on top of her, just like Yokozuna did, and her arms were crossed just like Yokozuna. So, if you present Nia Jax like the female Yokozuna, and she's unstoppable, then, again, yeah, I can kind of tolerate her. And honestly, like, her promo style... She's allowed to be herself now. Like, she isn't given these cringy, anti-bullying speeches that Vince wrote for her. She can come up with her own sarcastic remarks, like, on the microphone. Like, case in point, her promo when she had the crown on with Kayla Braxton. Like,
so, yeah, Vince basically looked at Nia Jax and said, "You're fat. You're a baby face. That's her gimmick now." He did the same thing with Piper Niven. Ha ha ha, you're fat. I'm going to name you Dewdrop. I'm going to make fun of you. Thank God that didn't last long. Anywho, I want to talk about the finish first, though.
Yes.
That was the craziest fucking annihilator I have ever seen in my life. You know, you talk about Rikishi. You talk
Bonsai drop.
About everyone annihilator. That's what she called it. And I fucking... I don't want to say marked. I just visibly gasped and cringed at that because Nia Jax looked like she absolutely destroyed, like crushed Lyra Valkyria's ribs.
Yeah.
And I just sat there in shock for the 3 count. After that, I was just like, I can't even be mad about that. Because who the fuck's going to get up from that? I feel like this is a stretch, but if this was like one of those super gritty superhero films, Lyra Valkyria would be that spunky superhero girl trying to fight this monster that just absolutely rips her apart in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Because I looked down, I'm like, is she fucking dead? I'm surprised her insides aren't splattered all over the canvas.
So you're
gnarly.
You're basically saying that Lyra Valkyria is Deadpool and Nia Jax is Juggernaut.
Yes, 100%.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, well, Lyra Valkyria doesn't joke like Deadpool does, but
like personally, I wanted Lyra Valkyria to win because they could have told a really cool story. This was prior to Becky Lynch losing the title. No, it doesn't matter who won that match earlier in the night. They could have told a really cool story with either A, the protege versus the mentor in Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria, an NXT rematch. They could have followed up on all that. Or B, they're already building towards Valkyria and Morgan. That would have been really cool for SummerSlam. And I really would, I like underdog stories. So it would have been really cool to see the underdog win. I wanted to see Lyra Valkyria do that. But after that finish, I'm like, I can't even be fucking mad.
No.
That was one of the most believable finishes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and honestly, Nia Jax winning the tournament, listen, I've had my fair share to say about her. I'm indifferent at this point. She's going to go and she's going to get her title shot at SummerSlam, presumably against Bayley, because I'm assuming Bayley's going to beat Piper Niven at the Clash. But with that in mind, you also have a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and our pick, I'm assuming Tomas's pick to win the women's briefcase is the same thing. We were gushing about her earlier. Tiffany Stratton and the Money in the Bank briefcase should be a match made in heaven over the next year. So, you never know.
At this point, that's the only thing that can justify her not winning this tournament. That Triple H is like,
oh, she's going to. 100%.
You're going to win Money in the You're going to win Money in the Bank. As a cousin for Nia Jax, like I said, I tolerate her now. Am I a fan of her? Fuck no. But no. You talk about the Bayley match. That's something I feel very indifferent about. Like, I would love to see Bayley win and continue her run. But if Nia Jax wins the title, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, people have talked about her joining the Bloodline. I'm indifferent about that. I could care less either way, especially if, the Usos are going to come back with Roman Reigns and they add Naomi to their squad. Then, yeah, sure, and add Nia Jax to the new Bloodline. I just feel indifferent. I'm right there with you. I feel indifferent about whatever they do with Nia Jax. She wins, whatever. She loses, cool. Triple H is making her earn her keep. So if she doesn't win, which I'm kind of leaning towards, it makes sense because I don't think Triple H is ready to put a title on her.
No, I mean, Yeah, all things said, though, I'm going to go 3 stars on this thing, which honestly might sound unbelievable coming from me talking about a Nia Jax match, but I liked it. Lyra Valkyria, I think, has such a bright future with the company, and as far as this finish goes, Nia Jax is the only person who could have pulled that off. After all,
Yeah.
she's not like most girls.
I hate you. I'm gonna match you 3 stars, and you hit the nail right on the head with Valkyria. They are building a new star on her, and that is so cool to see. Even in defeat, she looked good, and I think this also really helps with, if you watch NXT, great, you know all about her. If you don't watch NXT, this tournament alone showed you who Lyra Valkyria was. There wasn't a character reset. She's not just facing jobbers. It's not like that's the one thing I'm worried about. People who don't watch NXT, it's like, oh, they're not going to know who these people are going in, but they've been booking Valkyria so well that it doesn't matter if you watch NXT or not. This is her gimmick now.
Yeah.
Like she's, I feel like everybody does the never say die mentality when it comes to gimmicks, but she's just that spunky underdog that you can't help but cheer for.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And this tournament was a perfect introduction for main roster casual viewers to Lyra Valkyria. But that was not the only tournament that we needed to conclude on this. The return of the King of the Ring tournament here. What a tournament it was, man. Like, it was so much fun to watch it unfold on TV. Like I said, like, to your point, Ilya Dragunov was introduced in the Raw bracket. He was eliminated by Jey Uso in the quarterfinals, but man, what a showing through 2 matches he had. But it's all boiled down to this.
Yeah, and, I want to touch about this bracket for a minute for a couple reasons. Number one, Ilya Dragunov. I feel like he was the anti-Lyra Valkyria. A lot of people were upset that he lost to Jey Uso, in the second round. But it's just like they're building him, and in those 2 matches alone, you know who Dragunov is. He is an absolute beast in his own right, and he's already starting to form 2 rivalries. One with Ricochet, which is a friendly rivalry, and one with Gunther. And if you know anything about NXT UK, these guys are sworn enemies, and they are teasing it already. And when they are ready to do this match, NXT UK title match in front of people, the greatest match I've ever seen in front of 0 fans. Go back and watch it. If you are going to watch one match for the NXT UK era, it's Dragunov and Gunther from 2020. That is an unbelievable match.
Yeah, so those 2 are absolutely destined to do this forever. They are wrestling soulmates. And the reason why I wasn't upset by Dragunov getting eliminated in the quarterfinals was because if he wasn't, then that means in the semifinals, you would have had Dragunov versus Gunther for the first time on the main roster, and it would have been given away on free TV with absolutely 0 build. So,
this will say the most. I don't want to say it's a Mania main event, but it is definitely a World Heavyweight Championship pay-per-view main event making in the future. I just realized one thing. I was dead on with the Raw bracket. I was dead wrong about the SmackDown bracket for both the men's and the women's because Randy Orton was not my pick to go to the finals. It was actually LA Knight. Which they are so dirty right now. The SmackDown bracket was really fun. You had AJ Styles and Randy Orton. I wanted AJ Styles to go through and have the rubber match.
Fucking eliminate AJ Styles in the first round, why don't you? How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you?
New upstart Carmelo Hayes, which is getting a lot of exposure on TV right now. Could you ever believe we would have saw Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes? That was
a banger match too. And Melo also beat a babyface Baron Corbin who resurfaced.
Really fucking crazy, but it's actually good. The Bloodline storyline, we saw Tama Tonga in his first singles match taking out Angelo Dawkins. He beat LA Knight, and then that's when I realized I wasn't going to get my LA Knight Gunther match or even my Knight and Styles match. Orton and Tonga was a very interesting semifinals match to go through. No shame in losing to Randy Orton. I'm surprised they pinned Tonga in his, 3rd match in the company. But,
3rd or 4th if you're counting Backlash.
There's big things coming for Tama Tonga and the Bloodline. So here we are, another match I never thought I'd see. Gunther versus Randy Orton in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament.
Oh, man.
I'm hyped for this.
Me
First
too.
thing I want to say, Randy Orton.
I know
what was going on with him tonight.
Well, hold on. It's because the fans are all singing his song and he wants to take his time to enjoy it. That's why he took 7 fucking minutes to walk to the ring, which is on median average is longer than Roman Reigns usually takes to walk to the ring. Can you imagine?
This man must have randomly remembered his feud with The Undertaker in 2005 and said,
"Oh my God,
I'm gonna walk to the ring like Taker," because this man took baby steps, and I mean baby steps. You thought WrestleMania 33 was bad? This was like, oh my God, this man didn't have a care in the world. He had nothing going on tonight. He didn't give a fuck. I'm sure there was like production was like, Orton, get your ass to the ring. Come on.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was yelling at my TV, get your ass in the ring.
You ever feel like anxious about something and it's building and building and then the thing is coming towards you, but it takes so long to get to you that you're just like, well, fuck, I'm not anxious anymore. I'm just annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how Gunther felt. Like, fucking hell, man, get your ass in here. Let's do this.
No, Gunther was sitting there with the same stoic expression on his face, and it was unchanged. He was not fazed by Randy Orton's entrance.
Gunther could have pulled out a lawn chair, poured himself a glass of bourbon, made himself a sandwich, ate the whole sandwich,
texted Jenny,
dishes, texted Jenny, checked the Manchester United soccer game on his phone, and all of that, changed out of his gear, took a shower, put his gear back on, got in the ring, and Randy Orton would have scum.
So
I think you get your point.
Well, yeah, once all the dust settles and Randy Orton takes an entire week's worth episode of Monday Night Raw to make his way to the ring, they stand across from each other, and I'm actually really freaking hyped for this match, joking aside. And it was honestly, it delivered for the most part. These two were very stiff with one another. Randy Orton did say that Gunther was one of the people that he was looking forward to working with upon coming back, which is crazy because who wants to get in the ring with Gunther? He's fucking dangerous.
First spot I want to talk about is the first chop that Gunther delivers to Orton.
And the look on
Randy Orton's face says it all. It screamed, holy shit, that's what that feels like.
So honestly, the look on Randy Orton's face harkens back to, let's rewind to 2001, when Randy Orton is looking to get into the family business. Could you imagine him training in OVW back then and taking a knife-edge chop for the first time and being like, this is what the business is? And then he takes a chop from Gunther, and it's a game changer? Like, man.
This is really random and so out of pocket. But you know who I would like to see Gunther just knife edge chop the dog shit out of?
Jack Perry.
Hardcore Holly. I would love to see Holly try one of his chops on Gunther and Gunther just absolutely break Hardcore Holly's ribs with one of his chops.
Damn. I mean, Gunther wouldn't be fazed or intimidated by Bob Holly at all. But
no.
Orton, ironically enough, Randy Orton's first opponent on the main roster was Bob Holly, but Orton's chest was bruised up here, like beat red. He was taking some punishment unlike any other in this match. They were telling the story of Randy's knee, which was heavily taped. Gunther was going for the single-legged motherfucking Boston Crab way too many times to count. And the good submission game from Gunther as per usual.
There's this excellent spot where Randy Orton is getting into his groove. He hits the clotheslines. He goes for the snap power slam, but he doesn't get all of it. And Gunther just counters back with one of the stiffiest lariats I've ever seen him deliver.
Yeah, just eats a lariat from Gunther. Just a chops everywhere, sending sonic booms throughout the entire Jeddah Superdome.
Do you think CM Punk would want to take a lariat from Gunther?
Oh no, probably not. Lariat.
Why are you talking about Larry? Here, he's chilling at home in Chicago. You should know this.
I hate
Text
you.
your wife if you want to see your damn dog so bad.
I hate you. So yeah, match is very stiff. They're also telling the story of Randy Orton's surgically repaired back. Double fusion back surgery is no fucking joke. Almost forced Randy Orton into an early retirement. Randy Orton hits one RKO. Gunther is out for the count, but Orton can't capitalize because his back is so fucked up. He goes for a second RKO, and now his knee is so screwed up that he can't use his knee for leverage to pin Gunther. But then
I want to talk about that spot real quick. The first RKO where I was like, God damn, he hit the RKO. Like, are they really? I mean, I wouldn't care, but is Gunther going to kick out of an RKO? But the spot was so beautifully done. Like,
Orton the counters.
Selling. And I'm like, okay, I get this because he's going to drape the hand over and it's just enough time. It's going to justify the kick out. But Orton goes over to drape the arm and Gunther rolls out of the ring. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The ring IQ and the psychology on display in this thing. I always knew that Randy Orton's psychology was like 160. But Gunther's might be like close, if not equal to Randy Orton's ring IQ. Like, these two... I think these two worked great together. I wouldn't say that this was my favorite Randy Orton one-on-one match of all time, but God, I can't really think of a lot of better ones than this one. This damn good.
Was really good. I knew it was going to be good, but let's just say I didn't think these guys were going to click as well as they did. Mm-hmm. And Gunther is just an absolute... The mat is sacred. That's the best way to describe it. The mat is sacred. He is forever a student of the game. And he is just getting better and better. I think it's fair to say Gunther is my favorite wrestler on Raw right now. He's just so damn good. Mm-hmm. But you know what wasn't damn good? This finish.
Well, hold on. I want to talk about Randy Orton also just waylaying Gunther on the outside, hitting him with three belly-to-back suplexes on the announce table, which is the Singh Brothers spot. Not easy to do on a big hoss like Gunther, but Orton did it. Again, it's crazy to say a Randy Orton match is a hoss fight. Because Randy Orton is 275 pounds now. Like, that's, again, every time the announcer makes that, like, you know, they're presenting Randy Orton, weighing in at 275, I'm like,
you want to hear crazy?
He's that big?
In 2009, 2010, if you would have asked me my opinion on Randy Orton, I would have said he's mid. Now, he's one of the best damn technical wrestlers I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, well, he's an Orton.
Probably from 2014 on, I was like, no, this guy's one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago. So I've had 10 consistent years of thinking Randy Orton is the goddamn, just what a fucking gem he is. But you know what isn't a gem? This fucking finish.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah. Orton hits an RKO, and I start getting nervous. I'm like, fuck, Randy Orton's going to win this match.
The second RKO. The second RKO.
I just really want Gunther to win. So Randy Orton hits the RKO, he goes for the pin, and Gunther kicks out. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, he kicked out of the RKO. And I shit you not, Zach, I look down at my phone for 2 seconds, and the match is over. And I go, wait, what the fuck happened? I mean, yay, but what the fuck happened? Those were my literal words. And I saw the replay. So when Gunther kicked out of the RKO, Orton sat up. I'm like, oh, okay, it was a cradle spot. Not my favorite finish, but okay, cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I want to see Gunther definitively win a match, but he cradles Orton, and as the ref's going for the count, Greg said it the best. Randy Orton's shoulder was like 20,000 feet in the air. Like, there was no way you could miss it. The shoulder was not down.
Yeah,
and this is, I hate roll up finishes because shit like this happens. And
so you could have
took the wind out of me after this match.
You could have driven a fucking school bus under that gap. And honestly, like, sitting here thinking about it, like, I've been pondering about it in my head all afternoon. I don't think that this was necessarily a botch, because I think Randy Orton and Gunther are way too damn good to have this big of a hiccup here, and this, like, apparent of a hiccup. And Triple H actually did address the fact that Randy Orton's shoulder was not down in a post-show interview with somebody. So, with that in mind, this could be part of an angle to further maybe Randy Orton is #1 contender to Cody Rhodes, but that's why I was thinking Randy Orton was going to win this tournament, because, #1, that would make him only the 4th guy in history to hold Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, and be a Royal Rumble winner. Yeah, that's a very illustrious group that he would become involved in. But
so I have heard this theory, and I hope this was just like a slip of the tongue by Triple H, but Triple H talked about a rematch. I don't want that.
No.
The King of the Ring final is the King of the Ring final.
No
redo. Only time I took a redo is when James Ellsworth won the fucking women's Money in the Bank and they ran it back on SmackDown. That was okay. But here, decision's final. Don't be putting the crown on the line. It's not a title. And I don't want to see Gunther lose. I'm sorry. I'm going to die on that hill. Gunther lost at WrestleMania, and I get that. It ended a historic Intercontinental title reign, but this is how you keep Gunther's momentum going. He can't just keep losing match after match after match after this. You got to keep this man strong, because now he's going into a world championship match at SummerSlam. And people are saying, oh, Randy Orton could win and get the title shot that way. You know what I would rather see? On SmackDown, Randy Orton's fuming. He's pissed off. Nick Aldis comes up to him and says, like, Randy, I get it. We cannot do a redo. The match is final. Referee's final decision. But why don't you step into my office and see what we can talk about? That leads into him getting a title shot at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Like something simple like that.
Yeah.
No need to overcomplicate this.
I would do Cody versus Orton at SummerSlam. That seems like a big enough match between the two, and obviously have the legacy backstory going into it. Honestly, like, that's a match that many people have wanted to see since Cody Rhodes returned a couple years ago. So now it's a perfect time to do it with the title on the line. Gunther winning this tournament, everybody was calling it. He was my original pick, but as I was seeing the tournament go like, week by week, I was like, maybe they don't have Gunther win. Like, what if Gunther doesn't win? He was everybody's odds-on favorite for this thing after losing the Intercontinental Championship. The next logical step was towards the World Heavyweight Championship. And I know Tomas has been joking with me about this all day long. He's been saying that, oh man, every single King of the Ring tournament should have ended with the winner having the King gimmick. Like King Lesnar, King Edge. No, absolutely
King
not.
Gunther.
No.
All hail King Gunther.
The King General. That's all you need. Yeah.
Pat McAfee said that. I'm like, good job, Pat. That's really fucking good.
Yes, the King General. But notice how Gunther took the crown and he's like, yeah, this is nice, but I would rather have it be a title. And the crowd was also chanting, you deserve it at him before he cut his promo. He's like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But what I deserve is not up to all of you.
Gunther has to be the most distinguished troll I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I fucking love him. I love Gunther so much.
I would be honored to be insulted by Gunther, because it would be the most, like, just well thought out and eloquent and sophisticated insult I've ever received in my life.
Oh my God. What about one from Ludwig Kaiser, our generation's William Regal?
That too.
Yeah.
I would fucking take that too.
Man, oh man.
With that being said, this was a fantastic tournament, even though I had my nitpicks about it. Like, this weren't my finals on either side of the bracket. Not a fan of disqualification finishes, but this King of the Ring tournament did everything it needed to and more. It elevated new stars. It set up new rivalries. It furthered, current storylines. One storyline that didn't get to get furthered in this is that Drew McIntyre was originally supposed to be in this tournament. He got taken out. And, I was thinking, like, what if McIntyre was still in this tournament? I think, honestly, he would have made it to Gunther. CM Punk would have cost him the match.
Probably.
So that would have furthered that storyline, too. And we'll get to Drew McIntyre in a second, because there's a segment after this that it's going to... The Raw title picture is absolutely insane now.
Oh, my God.
World title match. And, I'm
at SummerSlam.
4 stars, by the way. This was excellent.
I'm going to match it. 4 stars. Gunther winning the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam seems like a foregone conclusion to me. How they get there, I honestly have no idea. Because you have Damian Priest, which was announced after this match. Triple H actually did make official Drew McIntyre has been medically cleared by WWE Medical. So, the match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship is on at Clash of the Castle, presumably in the main event, because it's Scotland. How do you not have Drew McIntyre close that show? But that match is honestly a coin flip with Gunther winning this tournament, because they are on a very slow roll with Damian Priest turning babyface. They could do Damian Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Is that the World Heavyweight title match that you want to do on your second biggest show of the year, though? That's what I'm wondering.
I would say yes, but, like, there's so much components right. Let's talk about this. So we have Clash of the Castle, and we have Money in the Bank before SummerSlam. And here's the thing. I would be down for a Priest and Gunther match, but Drew McIntyre is wrestling in his homeland, like, for real this time. It's not Wales like it was the last time. They are in Glasgow, Scotland, where Drew McIntyre hails from. He's on the poster. He won the championship at Mania, just to have it get taken away from him. He lost to Roman Reigns at the last Clash. It would be criminal to not put the title on him at this point. And Sure, people are saying, "Oh, CM Punk can interfere." Do you really want to make CM Punk the biggest heel
No.
on the planet?
Here's how I would do it.
Think that's smart.
Here's how I would do it. Yeah, well, you also don't want to meddle with your top babyface. You know, it really messes you up. Steps on your own dick, right? But in any case, sorry. CM Punk, here's how I would do it. You have Priest and McIntyre. I would actually make CM Punk the special guest referee for that match. And if CM Punk does not call that match down the middle, then CM Punk's contract is terminated. So he has to, like, they pull a SummerSlam 97. CM Punk reluctantly makes the 3 count for Drew McIntyre, awards the championship to Drew in his homeland, and he just makes off like a bandit. If CM Punk is cleared, I saw this theory online, but if Punk is cleared, maybe you could do the McIntyre Punk match at Money in the Bank. Not at SummerSlam for the title. Like, do the Money in the Bank match for the title. Drew beats Punk by cheating, probably. And then you have the guy who wins Money in the Bank, Sami Zayn, cash in the same night after Punk fucks over McIntyre again. And Zayn wins the World Heavyweight title in Canada. And then Gunther beats him at SummerSlam. Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Hot potatoing with the title.
So what? So
okay.
what?
Like,
we just had a guy hold the title for 4 years. Like, we can have some short title reigns. Like, that's
that was 100% not the direction I was going to go into. Like, I was down for the Punk being the referee thing. I'm actually going to side with Greg here and say that CM Punk should win Money in the Bank.
Well, I mean, that would make him the only 3-time Money in the Bank holder, but
it would. And just a Punk and McIntyre match is brewing, and how we're going to get there is going to be very interesting. The only roadblock at this point is, it's going to be very unfortunate Priest dropping the title. Like, you know, and like you said, like, short title reigns, they're going to happen. I think Priest, and here's the thing about Priest, just because he's going to lose the title doesn't mean his story is over. The Judgment Day is imploding, and I really feel like what's going to lead to the demise of his world title shot, it's either going to be Dom or Balor or McDonough or the combination of the 3. So he can point the finger at those guys and be like, I worked so hard to get this world championship. You guys are supposed to be my guys, and you ruined for me. I only held the title for 3 months.
Don't forget Carlito.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that could. Priest can go. Here's what I want at SummerSlam for Priest. I want him versus Finn Balor.
Oh, I'd love that.
In like a grudge match. But, you know, so Priest can drop the title there. McIntyre can win the title. McIntyre can hold to SummerSlam. And that's where just things get weird because, these short title reigns where McIntyre are starting to kill him. And I know the CM Punk thing is there, and Gunther is there. So you can get there a million different ways. But I do think at the end of the day, this ends with Gunther winning the World Heavyweight title with SummerSlam.
It should, yeah. This is going to be a crazy-ass summer on the Raw side, regardless. We just laid out a couple different scenarios. One had me, like, picking Sami Zayn to win Money in the Bank, essentially, while he's still the Intercontinental Champion, which would require him to drop it to Chad Gable beforehand. So, it's a lot of moving pieces.
I should, rephrase what I was saying earlier about the hot potato winning the title. I guess it's less about that, and they've been waiting for Sami Zayn to win a world title for how long now? Do you really want his first reign to be 1 month? No,
probably not. Probably
That's
not.
the only reason why I'm like not for that.
Yeah, but
anywho, we're in for a crazy summer on Raw. Look at the players we have right now: Priest, Punk, McIntyre, Gunther.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crowded at the top right now.
Yeah, we're in a locker room with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and I don't need to work on my swing. I don't need to do anything like that. Sorry if I'm quoting Punk now, but we're talking about.
I found out recently.
What?
It's so easy to do. I found out recently to quote Punk. I've been doing it in real life, everyday life for the past few months.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, while we're on the subject of world championships, we've come to the main event. It is a winner-take-all match between Cody Rhodes and Oh, wait, never mind. It's just for Cody's title. WWE Championship on the line here. Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. How do we get here?
What a wacky way we got to this. So, the setup is pretty simple. Nick Aldis calls Cody Rhodes out to the ring and says, I have your next challenger. It's Logan Paul. And that's not the issue I have. It's that they both hold their titles up to each other. And with no indication, people were like, is this title for title?
I have those questions.
Is it for the WWE Championship? Is it for the United States Championship? Is it for neither championship? And at first, they promoted it for the WWE Championship. But Cody Rhodes had to open his big fucking mouth on Twitter and say, title for title. And I'm like, okay, is it title for title? And then it's people are just assuming, oh, this is just an attraction match. Neither title is going to be on the line. And then on SmackDown, on the contract signing, they're about to sign the contract title for title. Logan Paul looks at it and says, I didn't sign up for this. He rips the contract in half and says, I agreed to wrestle Cody Rhodes for his WWE Championship. And Cody Rhodes has done nothing to earn a United States Championship match. This guy fucking gets it. He knows how to be a heel.
Fucking finishes the story against Roman Reigns. He beats AJ Styles in a match of the year contender, but that's not enough to warrant the American Nightmare going after the American Championship. Like,
I will be perfectly honest though, despite that whole confusion leading into this title match, the build for this felt pretty bland. It felt it was just like, haha, I'm a bad guy. No, you cheat. You can't win without cheating. I'm not going to cheat. I don't believe you. That's it. That's the whole storyline.
Yeah, and it got to a point where Logan Paul at the King of the Ring press conference actually gave his set of brass knuckles to Michael Cole, basically claiming, I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to try and beat Cody Rhodes all by my dick. And, you know, obviously he's a heel, and heels lie. So, obviously, yeah, go ahead.
Logan Paul's acting like he can't just get another pair of brass knucks. Oh, wait, he did, because on SmackDown, the referee had to frisk him and found another pair of brass knucks.
Yeah, did he pull a Nick Patrick and put his hand down his pants and be like, hey, what's this? You have brass knuckles.
So I just think that's just a dumb story element.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my brass knucks. I can't just... He's fucking Logan Paul. I'm sure you can get another pair of brass knucks.
Yep.
A baseball bat or a machine gun.
Or a Glock.
Yeah, Glock. Yeah. No, he should have got a Glock because that would have been Cody Rhodes' weakness.
Yeah, that would have been Cody Rhodes' weakness. That's why he had to put Glock Anderson by the wayside in his Denny's menu.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I'm not saying the build was dumb. I just didn't like that aspect of it. I thought it was hilarious right before the match. Michael Cole has the brass nuts in his hands. Like, yep, these are the brass nuts Logan Paul gave to me. And he pretends to hit Corey Graves with them. And I'm just like, Cole, you've been hanging out with McAfee too much. That was a McAfee shenanigan right there.
I want to meet Michael Cole. I don't give a shit. Next year at WrestleMania, I want to meet Michael Cole and thank him for entertaining me all these years.
We're going to talk more about Michael Cole as we get into this match.
Yeah. Did you like this match? I really liked this match.
I really like this match. Some comedian, I guess. Some Saudi Arabian comedian.
Yeah.
Did the ring announcing.
Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj, I think his name is. I've never heard of him, but... I mean... Yeah, I guess he's like...
Yeah, I mean...
I guess he's like the Tom Cruise of Saudi Arabia. He's super famous.
People from Saudi Arabia look at our country and go, what the fuck is a Billie Eilish? Different cultures. Different cultures. Yes, I just quoted Ozzy Osbourne.
What the fuck is a Zac Efron?
Yeah, exactly. He was a Kevin Von Erich in the Iron Claw.
Yeah, fucking depressing movie. But anyway, yeah. So let's talk about this match here. And I thought these two gelled together really well. It was a classic heel, classic babyface going up against one another, world title, big fight feel. The athleticism in this thing was out of this world, man. Cody Rhodes is fucking showing up as the WWE champion. Like, he spent all this time, going on the indies and proving that he's the main event player, that he wants to be the quarterback, as he calls it. And lo and behold, he's not just talking the talk, and he's walking the walk. His matches so far, awesome in this ring.
So I've talked about this in the Backlash review before, but this is Cody's blessing and his curse. He has so much motivation, and he wants to add new moves to his arsenal, but these new moves aren't exactly always working out for him. Like, he tries a deadlift suplex into a slingshot gourd buster, and it was kind of awkward. Like, he gets Logan up, and then Logan tries to come down, and Cody struggles to get him back up. And I feel like he used the springboard just to get Logan back up, and he executed the move. I think Corey Graves covered it up very well by saying, oh, that was like a tribute to Tully Blanchard's slingshot suplex, which, Cody grew up around those legends.
Yeah.
That was very cool. But it just looked like Cody was struggling. Like, Cody is a great wrestler. He's a great storyteller. He's a great technician. But look at the stuff he's attempted, not in Backlash, but just here as well. A deadlift superplex and this spot. Cody's not really the power spot guy.
No.
And he's trying to be one.
He's a hell of a babyface, though. Hell of a babyface.
100%.
Logan Paul is one hell of a heel. Not so much a great human being, but you got to give the devil his due. I thought he did really well in this thing. Certainly,
he knows his place in pro wrestling. I hate to admit it, but he does.
Mm-hmm. He sure does. I hope it's humbling him. I really hope it's humbling him a little bit. Because he has said in interviews that pro wrestling is the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. And
he even went as far as saying wrestling Kevin Owens was harder than fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Really? Oh, I didn't hear that one. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
He did.
Well, probably because he didn't last too long in the ring with Floyd Mayweather because he knocked him out within a minute. But
easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like me trying to get in the ring with fucking, I don't know, like Mike Tyson or Jake Paul trying to get in the ring with Mike Tyson. It's not going to last long. It really is not going to last long.
Wait.
Yeah, I said it. That fight is not going to last long. Mike Tyson's going to murder him. So
okay, I'm not going to buy the fight, but I definitely want to find a friend who is buying the fight because I just need to see it. I need to see Mike Tyson fucking murder this guy.
Yeah. So anyway, some really creative spots in here. Cody was hitting a Cody cutter on the announce table, which was absolutely nuts.
Before we get into those big spots, because I feel like the match was fine. But it wasn't up until this point where like the storytelling really kicked in and it really kicked into like that third gear. So they're on the outside. Logan Paul, and he doesn't have the Prime hydration station is not there. So he goes to his goon for a drink of Prime. And Cody takes the Prime bottle and he bashes it over Logan's head.
Where's the DQ? Where's the DQ? He hit him with the Prime bottle.
Jacob's point. But the guy, the same asshole that cost Rey Mysterio the United States title in the first place, gets up in Cody's face and he shoves Cody Rhodes. So
where's the DQ?
Exactly. So while the referee's dealing with that, Cody goes to launch himself off the steel steps into Logan. Oh no, while that's happening, Logan is getting the brass knucks. He's getting the brass knucks. Michael Cole is fucking livid. And when Cody launches him off the steel steps, a direct shot to the stomach by Logan on the brass knucks. And
Cody was going for a disaster kick, I believe.
Yeah. And Michael Cole goes fucking scorched earth. And he gets up, reams at Logan Paul. You're a liar. You said you weren't going to use the brass knucks. And at first, Logan is ignoring him. And Logan turns around and says, what? Do your job. And Michael Cole says, you said you weren't going to use the nuts. And he goes, I didn't use the nuts. I'm like, this fucking asshole.
He's gaslighting him.
Yeah. And Michael Cole, zero fucking fear, gets up and he's ready to fucking throw down with Logan Paul. The only thing stopping him, the only thing saving Logan Paul from that ass whooping of a lifetime is Corey Graves.
Yeah. It should have been revealed that Michael Cole was wearing his signature orange singlet underneath his shirt, right? Yeah, he should have been.
For that.
Yeah. No, I believe Michael Cole also said something along the lines of, Logan, you signed a pre-nux.
He did. And Graves
fucking love that.
Backs off Logan. He gets Logan out of here. He sits down, puts his headset back on. He goes, I'm back. And Cole says, thanks for that, by the way. And Corey Graves says, no problem. I got your back. I was going to say, Graves, you got to understand, Logan, I'm not protecting Cole from you. I'm protecting you from Michael Cole. Because he would have fucking murdered him.
Because Michael Cole loves Cody Rhodes, and he doesn't want to see Cody get cheated out of the title.
It was so great, because Michael Cole, like I said, zero fear in his eyes. He was not backing down. He had a fucking stance. He was ready to fucking go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I believe that Michael Cole would have kicked his ass, too. But anyway.
Michael Cole was just going to add to his kill list. Bailey, Top Dollar, Logan Paul. He's next. He's fucking next.
I mean, at least Logan Paul can go over the top rope, right? But anyway.
I'm not kidding you. I think Michael Cole could beat Top Dollar in a shoot fight.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, he could. Without any question. Without any question on the planet. But, yeah, you know what else? So, Cody was selling his ribs because Logan was hitting him with one lucky punch. He was hitting him with the titanium plates that are in his right hand. And Cody's selling was out of this world in this thing. And also, there was a big key selling point. Cody was going for that vertebreaker, and I was like, I want to see him hit the vertebreaker for once in this company. And
I was gonna say, when's the last time that move has been used in WWE? Period.
I don't know. I don't even remember Cody hitting the vertebreaker last. Like, it must have been when he was with AEW. Like,
it has to have been.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a ref bump, because of course that's what this match needs, is a ref bump. Cody then hits the vertebreaker after the ref bump, and Corey does call it the vertebreaker on commentary, and then, because, you know, dumb babyface trope, they go for the pin after a signature move is hit, and the ref is down, and Cody is actually...
This part's great. Cody goes to revive the ref, and he goes, I'm sorry!
I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Ryan!
You about we.
Ryan, hey, we got.
I have to do Ryan.
Hey,
I've never seen that before. He goes, "I'm sorry,
I'm sorry. We gotta finish this.
We gotta finish. What do you mean we?
What, is he your tag team partner now?
I was gonna say, when did this turn into a team effort?
When was Ryan Tran under the gold dust of face paint back in 2013?
Think we skipped a big chunk because the Cody cutter on the announce table, and this spot was great because they fought on the outside for a long time, and Cody gets back in the ring, and the referee's up to, and Cody stops him and says, "No, please, like no countouts," and they go like back and forth in this thing, and then we have the Logan Paul signature. He hits one lucky punch, he sets Cody up on the table.
Yes,
this was the coolest shot ever. They did a drone shot, a 360 scope drone shot of the drone circling around Logan. He spits the prime out Triple H style, and he hits a frog splash through the announce table. And I'm going to take a page out of Greg's book in his review. A moment of silence for the fact that Kevin Dunn is gone.
Hey, Kevin Dunn, eat your heart out, you goddamn chipmunk.
And in the great
That's
words
what I
of
think.
John Moxley, in the great words of John Moxley, fuck Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. Oh, this is such good shit.
Such a cool shot.
Oh yeah, that was like one of the best. Like, as a film geek, like the cinematography in that one sequence alone was like award worthy. Loved it.
I saw the drone shot, I'm like, this is gonna be so fucking cool. And it circled all around Logan, one single shot until we hit the frog splash through the announce table. This is where I started getting nervous, and I was telling Zach this before. There's one thing to have a predictable match, but if you can make me think for a split second that the heel is going to win, boom, I'm sold. And this was the moment here, because frog splash through the announce table, Logan gets Cody up, throws him back in the ring, a second frog splash, and that's where I was like, fuck, this might be it. 1, 2, very close near fall.
Yeah.
And that was a great sequence.
Yeah, it was a great sequence. They made you believe that Logan was going to win, but come on. It was only 2 months after Cody finished the story. There's no fucking way that they were going to make Logan Paul a double champion. No fucking
they made
chance.
You believe for a split second, and I love that. And I really do appreciate that. I love this next spot because, Cody...
We got to finish this!
Cody then puts Logan in a figure 4 leg lock, and Logan's selling of this is goddamn hilarious. He goes, "No, Cody, please, you're going to break my leg." I'm like, motherfucker, you've been trying to break this fool's ribs all match, and now you're crying? Oh, little baby, you've never been put in a figure 4 before?
Yeah, as my girlfriend would call it, 2 men scissoring each other in the ring. Yeah, no, she was watching this match with me on the phone, so yeah, that was pretty fun. Tomas's first time hearing about this, by the way. So, they get close to the finish.
I need time to prepare for this.
Anyway, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So, they do the... I'm going to be laughing at this spot forever. So, Cody goes to wake up the ref. We got to finish this. I'm sorry.
He was genuinely sorry.
He was. I mean, that's the pull of Cody Rhodes, is that he is such a respectful, earnest babyface. Like, you see him shaking hands. He's shaking hands with everybody, thanking them for being involved in his matches. He's shaking hands of the Arabian announce team. He's shaking the hand of the guest ring announcer. He's shaking the hand of referee Mike Tran. And then he's going up to the referee after he takes a bump, and he's like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." We gotta finish this.
The funniest ref bump spot since that one time Undertaker just grabbed the fucking ref by his belt and lifted it up like he was a suitcase and threw him in the ring.
Oh man.
God damn, the refs do not get enough credit. But
I love you, Cody. I can't help but laugh at that delivery.
Sorry, but he was. It wasn't even like a bullshit apology, too. He was genuinely sorry.
He was. He was. Anyway,
and this is when Logan hits a low blow.
Yeah, he kicks Cody right in the dick. Yeah, and then he pulls out the third pair of brass knuckles that's in this story, by the way. If I could use a Cody term for a second. So he pulls out the third pair of brass knuckles, and the fucking guest ring announcer gets involved. And he holds onto Logan's ankle, and he's like, no, you're not going to do it like this. It reminded me of when Bad Bunny interfered in the Mysterios match, because it felt out of left field, but at least that set up a match down the line. You know, at least because Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj is not going to get in the ring with Logan Paul at Clash of the Castle. That's just not going to happen.
No, and I'm going to say my thoughts about that spot until after the match. There was a little bit of anxiety left over in me because after that spot, Cody Rhodes finally comes back and he hits one crossroads. I'm surprised you didn't bring up the stolen crossroads.
Oh so Logan Paul did hit a crossroads at one point, and even though he's a piece of work as a human being, I did pop for that trope. There was also, I forgot to mention, a big key story in this. Cody goes for the signature Rhodes family take a bump and then punch the guy who's bent over. Cody goes for the punch. Logan catches it. Logan looks at Cody and he says, "I'm Logan Paul, bitch!" And he does that. And then...
I can't help but appreciate that.
Yeah. And then what happened is Logan goes for one lucky punch with the brass knuckles, and Cody looks at him and he's like, "I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch!" And then
that would have been great. You know what would have been an even better retort?
What?
Who the hell said this was open mic night, bitch?
No, you know what would have been an even better response to that was, "I don't need a partner. I need my older brother."
Cody also hit a final cut in this match, which was a great tribute to Justin.
He did, but
Cody does hit the triple crossroads. I noticed Logan still had the brass knucks in his hand, so I'm like, don't pull any bullshit at the end of this match. Thankfully, he doesn't. Cody gets the pin and the win, and he retains the WWE Undisputed Championship. Did you notice during the match they called it the Universal Championship, and they flashed the logo, and it was for the Universal Championship? I'm like, would you fucking decide on a name for this title?
They were
WWE title from now on.
Yeah, me too. That's the title Cody's always wanted, so that's what I'm gonna respect it as. So
this was a fantastic match. This was better than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars, just a notch below the AJ Styles Cody Rhodes match. And we debated about this before the review, and this is what I'm going to say about these matches. Cody and Styles put on a wrestling clinic, but I think Cody and Logan had the more dramatic story. And yeah, it was overbooked at times, but I just loved that roller coaster it took me through the entire thing, because that's the thing about a predictable match. If you can make me just feel things throughout that, like Cody and Roman Reigns from WrestleMania. There's a difference between a match, and we talked about this before. There's a difference between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. Just like I think there's a difference between these two world title matches. They're both great in their own right. I think I appreciated the wrestling a little more in the Cody Styles match, which is why I rated it higher. But I can't ignore that I was entertained from this match from start to finish.
Yeah. I'm going to go 4.25 on this thing. The interference at the end probably shouldn't have happened, because they were even talking about this on commentary, but Cody has said in interviews many times that he wants to be a fighting champion. And yet here is this Saudi Arabian celebrity coming in and basically trying to make things right. And Cody is shaking his hand after the match. He's not basically scolding him for being like, "Hey, don't get involved." Like, you shouldn't have gotten involved.
Retort that. I totally understand where you're coming from, but when that spot happened, I kind of shrugged and was like, I don't care for that, but whatever.
It's not going to lead to anything. That's my big issue with it.
Let Jeddah have their thing, but here's my thing. And then I kind of eased up on it when I realized this. Logan has used 2 separate pairs of brass knucks in this match. He splashed through the announce table. He had his goons interfere. He used a low blow. He did everything under the sun to cheat. Cody didn't ask this guy to interfere. He just did because, you know what, this is bullshit. Let me even the odds, even if it's a slight distraction. That's why I was like, okay, I can get that. It's not like Cody told the guy, hey, when things get rough, like, interfere, kick him in the balls, punch him in the face, poke his eyes out. No, this was just a Samaritan that was just like, fuck this. You're not going to take Cody's towel, you cheating bitch.
He wasn't going to be a bystander.
Yeah, it was just like a slight distraction. And I don't think it hurt Cody at all. I don't think, that's why I feel like I disagree with that. I don't think this has to lead to anything, if I'm being perfectly honest. It was just, here's a moment for the Saudi Arabian thing. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Inoffensive. Yeah, it was. It was inoffensive at the end of the day. Really enjoyed this. Overall, as King and Queen of the Ring, I think I want to give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Good
solid.
Show.
Solid pay-per-view.
I feel like a lot of people enjoyed this pay-per-view a lot more. I think Greg gave it an 8.5 out of 10, which to each their own. But I did enjoy this, but I just didn't think Backlash was better. WrestleMania was better.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I put this on the same level as Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I think this show, I'm going 7.75 out of 10. So I think this is slightly above Elimination Chamber for me. I don't know if I liked this as much as the Royal Rumble. It might be on the same level, but yeah, you're right. Definitely not better than Backlash. Definitely not better than either night of WrestleMania, in my opinion. Like, WrestleMania as a whole package, I think, is one of the best productions WWE has put on in quite some time. As a return to form for a King of the Ring pay-per-view, it is one of the better ones that's out there, because honestly, you look back at the Attitude Era catalog of King of the Ring pay-per-views, aside from 1998 and 2001, both of which we've reviewed, pretty bad shows. We've also reviewed the 2002 version in the early days of this podcast. That was not a good pay-per-view at all. 1999 King of the Ring, horrendous show. 2000 King of the Ring is probably even worse, but...
And we're about to talk about the 2006 King of the Ring, and even though the outcome...
That's not a pay-per-view, though.
Of the era. No, it's not, but there's still a King of the Ring tournament. We're going to talk about the finals, because the finals happen in Judgment Day.
Correct, yeah.
So even though it birthed one of the best gimmicks of that era, it's very forgettable. Very, very forgettable. So it's good to see the tournaments doing what they're meant to do. And even in the Attitude Era, it didn't, push and start and further more storylines than this one did. It didn't create new stars.
Other than the one Billy Gunn in 1999.
It should have been King Gunn.
Yeah, it should have been King Ass. King Ass. Yeah, could you imagine? Would you be intimidated by a man named King Ass?
Absolutely not. You know who I'm not going to say no. So overall, this was a very solid pay-per-view.
I liked it, yeah. No, it was a good show.
The Saudi Arabia shows are getting better. The next one's going to be next November, so we can, wipe the sweat off for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very interesting cluster of pay-per-views coming up next. In 3 weeks is Clash at the Castle, which will be our next WWE review. Then we got Money in the Bank, and we got SummerSlam. All three of those shows are going to be very interesting. But tomorrow night is AEW. Wow, I butchered that.
AEW.
All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. After I get off, I got to slap down the $50 for that. Grown.
Yep.
I feel like we're going to have a lot to say about that show. We got Anarchy in the Arena. We got Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong for the international title. And we got a barbed wire steel cage match between Adam Copeland and Matt for the TNT title.
I don't care what anybody says. I can't wait for Edge and Malachi to tear it up in that steel cage. I don't care.
Copeland and Malachi.
I think that's gonna be a really fun match. But I mean, it's the lineup overall. I think is solid enough. But again, it's a beefy match card. We're gonna be sitting there for probably 4 hours watching it. But I don't know. I mean, wrestling is wrestling still, and I mean, I'm not tribal by any stretch. I mean, it might sound like Tomas and I joke like we really hound on AEW nowadays, but we're an even playing ground here. Like we're looking at this as critics. So
there'll be great things about the show tomorrow night, and I'm sure there'll be bad things, just like about this show. We had our nitpicks about this show.
Of course,
everyone, we're equal opportunity offenders here on the channel. So other than that, we are kicking off the 2006 retrospective with the Royal Rumble, like we said.
New Year's Revolution. Don't forget that show.
New Year's Revolution. I forgot about it.
Horrible show. Yeah, horrible show. Yeah, but in any case, folks, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up as well. We're going to be watching Double or Nothing tomorrow. Clash of the Castle is coming up, like he said. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. If you guys enjoyed King of the Ring, let us know what you thought down in the comments, and let us know what your favorite King of the Ring memory is. Yeah, with all that said, commence that back talk, and see you guys at the next one.